Now at 6, how national poverty numbers stack up to what's happening on the ground locally for charitable organizations. Plus,
sleep is something that we all need, but more of us have been getting less of it throughout the pandemic. I'm Zach Dodge with why and what you can try to catch some more Z's coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
an increase in the nation's poverty level over the past 10 years is felt locally by organizations that serve folks in need. This is KOAM News at 6. The Census Bureau today announced new income and poverty data for the U.S., showing the poverty level increased 1% nationally. While localized data wasn't immediately available, the current poverty level in southwest Missouri is already obvious to organizations that help those in need. Officials with economic security say they've seen a 26% increase in clients since 2019, partly due to the pandemic. Crosslines Ministries says they've seen peaks and valleys, but they're beginning to see a steady increase in those seeking assistance.
The stimulus relieved the immediate crisis, which is what we do, but we're starting to see things trend back upward. Obviously, most people have used that stimulus up by this point and are beginning to have needs once again. So we're starting to see an uptick, and we expect that to increase significantly as we roll into the holiday season.
Tonight at 9 and 10, we're going to hear more from Crosslines and the Economic Security Corporation on local trends they've seen. Missouri Southern receives a grant to learn more about food insecurity with students. The Fosbeck Foundation grant gives the university $25,000 to fund research into food insecurity in Missouri college students. It'll also look at students' access to and knowledge of the SNAP program.
Looking at public, private institutions, community colleges, technical schools, and then also asking those students, do you know what SNAP is? Do you know how to access SNAP? And so really getting a better understanding of SNAP knowledge, SNAP awareness, and food insecurity in this population.
Cullors, who heads up the Lion Co-op, will direct the research. If you'd like to donate to the co-op, check out the link to this story on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. Checking in with Nick Kelly now for a first look at the weather.
Good evening, Dow. We've been keeping an eye on developing rain and storms in parts of the area ever since late this afternoon, certainly as the evening gets going. But we're still looking dry from 7th and range line, but cloud cover in the northern horizon. That's because of cloud cover from rain and thunderstorms that have developed areas north of Joplin, but any lingering rain for the time being is trying to hold together in some form west of Girard and then stretching back pretty much along US 400 in parts of southeastern Kansas. However, with this frontal system on the way in, it's going to keep any good chances for severe weather off to our west across south central and southwest Kansas and up near parts of the Great Lakes. But that doesn't mean we're going to get off with this system scot-free. The rain chances will continue to pick up through the evening and overnight. And as far as temperatures go, well, we're having a range of temperatures from lower 80s to near 90 right now. But you can see how as the rain chances pick up, the overall trend will be downward, down to 70 by midnight, and down I think we'll drop back into the upper 60s. We'll see how long these rain chances will stick around and what lies behind the system here in a bit.
See you then. The Jasper County Health Department reports 6 more COVID-19 deaths. The patients were 3 men in their 30s, 40s, and 60s, and 3 women in their 50s, 60s, and 80s. The number of total COVID-19 deaths in the county now stands at 213. Insomnia is on the rise in every age group as people stress about the pandemic and everything it's changed in the last year and a half. KOAM's Zach Dodge has details and some things you could try to get more and better sleep.
Sleep is something that we obviously all need, but several people are getting less of it.
As a physician, as a human in this pandemic, it has impacted my sleep.
Generally speaking, 15 to 30% of the population will have trouble sleeping.
During the pandemic, though, that number has increased to 40%, according to the National Institutes of Health, and the reason has been dubbed COVID-somnia.
Stress and sleep do not mix. Most of our stressors in our world are short-term. Unfortunately, the pandemic has been a long-term stress.
Psychiatrist Charles Graves at Access Family Care says that insomnia can impact physical and cognitive performance, like concentration, problem solving, and rational thinking.
Obviously, that impacts our school-age children at school. but also our adults who have to look after those children.
The misery factor goes up anytime you can't sleep.
Psychologist Charles Doyle says that can be especially detrimental to people who are already dealing with a mental illness like anxiety or depression.
It becomes a serious thing for them to deal with, and it decreases their daily function, increases their symptoms overall.
So what can you do to catch some more sleep? Here are some tips that all three experts recommend, with some of the bigger ones being: create a sleep schedule, turn off the screens, and try not to worry about the things that you cannot change. If that doesn't help, it may be time to seek out professional help.
If it goes for a week or more when people are having difficulties initiating and maintaining sleep, it's appropriate to speak with your physician at that period of time.
When your sleep is off, it's often a red flag that says that something else is off, that it needs to be attended to as well.
In Joplin, Zach Dodge, KOAM News.
Now, if you have a mental illness like anxiety and depression and endure the cycle of sleeplessness so long that it sends you into a crisis, well, the Ozark Center has a crisis intervention line that could help. It's 417-347-7720. Again, that number is 417-347-7720. Still ahead, Low Bridge. Details of the crash involving this RV and a Southwest Missouri bridge. And protesters work to put the spotlight on sexual assault allegations at a KU fraternity. Kansas has added Dollar General locations to the vaccine incentive program. Anyone who gets a vaccine at a participating Dillon's or Dollar General location will receive a $50 gift card for each dose. There are a number of local stores participating. You can find a list in this story on our website. That's KOAMnewsnow.com. When you're driving an RV under a bridge, you better know the clearance height. An 83-year-old man and a 93-year-old woman were injured when their RV collided with an overhead railroad deck on Route CC east of Seneca, Missouri. The two victims from Montana were listed in moderate condition. The RV didn't fare as well. Hundreds of people chanted and held signs outside of a University of Kansas fraternity house where a member is accused of sexually assaulting another student. Last night's protest outside the Phi Kappa Psi house came after the fraternity officials reported the allegations over the weekend. The university's spokeswoman said today the university takes all allegations of sexual violence seriously and has robust processes to investigate them. A spokesman for the fraternity said the organization has been made aware of the allegations involving one of its new undergraduate members, and the university was immediately notified. A drop in temperatures led to a sharp spike in natural gas prices last winter, you might recall, and the Kansas Attorney General says that spike appears to have violated state law. Attorney General Derek Schmidt says he's seeking out outside legal help to investigate. Schmidt's office says it's looking to retain a law firm with expertise in the natural gas marketplace to help investigate and with any potential civil litigation aimed at enforcing the state's anti-profiteering law. Schmidt said in a news release that state law prohibits unjustified price increases for necessary goods and services during a declared state of disaster emergency. Later, we're going to preview a budding rivalry under the Friday night lights as Girard prepares to take on Columbus.
Before we do, we're keeping an eye on rain chances still on the developing trend. We'll see how long these rain chances will last when we come back. Before we saw our rain chances get going ahead of schedule today, we kept temperatures certainly on the warm side and for some of you certainly a bit on the hot side. Thankfully though, temperatures have been on the downward trend after we saw highs around 93, 94 degrees yesterday at Joplin Regional especially. But after we started in the lower 70s this morning, a little jump back up to 91 so far at Joplin Regional. Most of us upper 80s to lower 90s this afternoon. But late this afternoon, Mother Nature always does what she wants to do, so she jumped the schedule in terms of getting our chances for rain and thunderstorms going a little earlier than anticipated. So this is what we've been keeping an eye on as we went on throughout the course of the late afternoon hours and certainly as we continue through the rest of the evening. You can see how they're mainly scattered and more prevalent on the Kansas side. In fact, we can go for a quick little tour Close up on the radar network, we have a couple developing storms stretching from south and east of Eureka back toward Yates Center, working around Iola, south of Garnett and Mountain City, well, including one storm trying to hold together as it works toward Girard and Beulah. And then on the Missouri side, we see some activity north of Nevada and stretching from Butler almost to Clinton as you go into Henry County in western parts of Missouri. This is all rain chances that will be on the increase still as we go through the rest of the evening, but in Joplin, still looking quiet as can be. Partly sunny skies, hot with temperatures near 90. Feels like 91 with the dew point sitting at 63 though. Most of us are sitting in the upper 80s to near 90, but if you're underneath the clouds and some of those developing rain and storms, you actually see temperatures in the lower to middle 80s right now. But overall, everyone will trend down into the 70s, certainly by 10 o'clock tonight, and I think we will eventually drop back into the mid to upper 60s. At least with our thunderstorm chances, we're not expecting really much, if any, in terms of severe weather. Those better chances will stay out in south central and southwestern Kansas. Think Wichita on the Turnpike back to the southwest. I think that's where the better chances for severe storms with large hail and high wind gusts will stay, not to mention another area of severe weather near the Great Lakes. But this entire front is going to be our focal point for our best shot for rain this week, not to mention this upper level system running along the jet coming into play to keep these rain chances around. So how could this unfold? Well, the Future Track's trying to do a good job picking up on what's out there right now, but the overall idea is there. As long as this front's around, as more moisture pulls in late tonight into tomorrow morning, and the upper system coming into play as well, we'll hold on to scattered rain and thunderstorm chances through the night, some of them certainly with heavy rainfall. We can't rule out a couple strong storms, though, with maybe some minor wind gusts and small hail. That's really going to be about it. And once we get past morning lows in the upper 60s, the rain chances, they'll be gone as soon as we get into Wednesday afternoon, and temperatures certainly looking good behind this front and these rain chances too. 68 in the morning, 79 by noon. Afternoon highs, not bad, right around 85 degrees. As far as what to expect in terms of rainfall, again, our best shot for rain this week, and we're trying to make the most of these projected rain amounts, which could range between a tenth of an inch to maybe some spots over an inch of rainfall, certainly with any good pockets of heavy rainfall that'll come along the way. 85 for your Wednesday once we start clearing out from the morning's rain chances. 87 on Thursday, so a nice little dip in temperatures before we have to head back near 90 on Friday. Lower to middle 90s going into early next week, Dow, and can't rule out maybe a random chance for a storm or two on a Monday. But again, our best chances for rain, we'll have to take advantage of what comes our way tonight.
Yeah, because it's going to be hot for a while after that. Thanks, Nick. There's a lawn invasion underway in the 4 states. Army worms are spreading across the area, rapidly eating large amounts of grass. Army worms are actually caterpillars that reproduce in large quantities and spread over a field like an army. They feed primarily on Bermuda grass, ryegrass, fescue, bluegrass, and some crops. Now, experts say army worms can destroy areas as large as a football field in 2 to 3 days. There are some insecticides you can use to protect your lawn. Coming up in sports, the Joplin softball team aims to pick up its first conference win at home today against Carthage. Plus, the Girard Trojans host a CNC rivalry game with Columbus Friday, looking for a 3-0 start. Jacob Leonard has that and more next.
Well, the Joplin Eagles play at home this afternoon in a COC matchup against Carthage. Now, the Eagles are aiming for their first conference win after falling to Webb City and Branson in their first 2 league games. Carthage, meanwhile, comes in with a 1-1 record in the league, 8-10 overall. It was a pitcher's duel early. Jillian McDaniel, pair of strikeouts in the first inning for Joplin. Other side, Jensen Elder, really good for Carthage, strikeout there in the second. Then in the third, Elder with another. Joplin did have its chance to strike first in the third. Jaden Pankow to right. Ball gets away and into the corner. She's in there for a triple. Elder, though, gets out of the inning with another strikeout. Game still scoreless. Now the 4th inning. That was the big one for the Tigers. Mary Grace Richmond with the bases loaded. That scores 2. 7 runs for Carthage in the 4th. Tigers going to beat Joplin tonight 8-0. A couple big 8 teams here playing tonight. McDonald County hosts Seneca. McDonald County 7-1 on the year and a 6-game winning streak. Mustangs lead this one 7-0 heading to the 6th. Well, the Girard Trojans are 2-0 to start the season. On Friday, the Trojans have easily their biggest game of the season so far. hosting the Columbus Titans. Now, it's an important game for both teams and a budding rivalry heading into their third meeting in the last year. The last time Girard and Columbus were on the field together, the Trojans knocked the undefeated Titans out of the playoffs in the first round.
Going into it, I think, I'm certainly we're circled on a calendar somewhere, thinking that knocked them off last year in the playoffs, and I'm sure they're eager to play us. But at the same time, our guys, we got to understand that game has no bearing on what this year is, and we got to go take care of business.
And Girard is on a roll to start the season, blowing out both Colgan and Baxter Springs in their first 2 games.
We've gotten a chance to get a lot of people in. We took the opportunity to look at last week as, hey, how do we get better from week 1 to week 2? And there's some things that we did, and there's some things that we still need to get improved, and we're excited to get back to work and get that fixed this week.
Girard's defense has been impressive, allowing just 7 total points through 2 games.
Technique's a big thing for us. We're a little bit smaller up front, so it's a big thing for us right now.
We've got a good group there. We're we kept a lot of the same stuff that we had a year ago, so we're familiar with it. We've got some athletes that can fly around a little bit, but we've had turnovers. Guys have been doing a pretty good job of getting the ball and tackling. Guys just, kind of being unselfish in what they do, make the plays they're supposed to make, and let their teammates make the plays that they're supposed to make.
While Girard knows they can get the job done on Friday, they know it's an important game for Columbus, and the Titans will be ready to play.
They're a good team. They've got a lot of guys back from a year ago that had a nice team. They do some things very, very sound. They know their identity on both sides of the ball. It's kind of like us. They kind of know what they're doing. Defensively, they know what their responsibilities are, and they go play hard and play fast, and it's going to be a challenge for us.
Now, Columbus beat Girard in the regular season last year before the Trojans returned the favor in the playoffs. Now, the Titans are 1-1 this year in their first 2 games. And that's a look at sports. We're back with more news after this.
Take time now to honor a local veteran. Harold Emert served in the U.S. Marine Corps in Japan during World War II. His hometown, Chautauqua, Kansas, and we are proud to salute Harold Emert. He's tonight's 4-state hero. Jordan Nobby joins us now with a look at what's coming up tonight on KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
Tonight at 9, new census data shows the poverty level has increased. We'll talk to local agencies. Also, the fate of Governor Gavin Newsom is in the hands of California voters as they head to the polls to vote in the California recall election. And a look at how working from home could be damaging to local businesses. That, of course, much more coming your way tonight. KOAM News at 9 on Fox 14.
Jordan, thanks. America's oldest known World War II veteran had a big birthday bash. Lawrence Brooks turned 112 years old on Sunday. To celebrate, the National World War II Museum arranged a birthday celebration for the New Orleans native. The museum says the event was small and there was social distancing. Brooks and his family stayed on his front porch while the museum staff delivered a cake and cards. There were also a Jeep parade and performances by local musicians. The city of New Orleans also issued an official proclamation recognizing Brooks' birthday. Thank you for your service, Mr. Brooks, and happy birthday to you, 112 years old. Chances of rain, good chance tonight.
Yeah, the chances are there this evening, and they're going to pick up still as we go through the overnight and into Wednesday morning. But once we hit the afternoon, if I could say it correctly, we'll be done with the rain chances. Highs near 85, 87 and dry Thursday before we're back in the 90s this weekend.
Final sports note.
We talked about the Girard-Columbus game. There's so many good high school games. Lamar-Nevada rivalry game, Carthage-Webb City rivalry game on Friday. So I know we got a few days till then. Definitely want to be here for that on Friday.
Looking forward to it. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you right back here for KOAM News at 10. Let's make it a great evening.